The night was torn. A great cry echoed from the heavens. The moon, Selene, our silver guide, broke apart. Bright shards rained down. They were like tears of a dying goddess. The world watched in frozen fear. Magic, once a gentle stream, became a raging flood. Then it became a trickling drought. The lands changed. The seas boiled with an unnatural heat. Old certainties vanished with the moon's light. People looked up. They saw only a wounded darkness, a gaping hole where beauty used to be. This was the great shattering. It marked the end of an age. Leora was an apprentice. She served the moon scribes. They were keepers of lunar lore. They charted the paths of Selene. Now their charts were useless. Their knowledge was dust. Leora was quiet. She preferred listening to speaking. She felt the world's pain deeply. The broken moon felt like a wound in her own soul. She moved through the chaos. She helped where she could. Her small village near the silent peaks was in turmoil. Fear was a constant companion. The elders spoke of prophecies. They spoke of an imbalance that would consume all. The sky above was a canvas of dread. Streaks of fading light marked where shards had fallen. Some said they were curses. Others believed they held Selene's dying power. Leora felt a strange pull. It was a hum beneath the surface of the world. It was a whisper in the silence of her heart. The world was different now. The air itself felt thin. The stars seemed colder, more distant. The familiar patterns were gone. Only the emptiness of the hollow moon remained, a constant reminder of what was lost. She remembered the stories of the moon's divinity, how Selene governed the tides of magic and emotion, how her wholeness meant balance for the world. Now only fragments remained. The scribes tried to understand. They searched ancient texts, but the texts spoke of a whole moon. They offered no solace for a broken one. Leora felt a growing unease. The official explanations felt hollow. The prayers felt empty. Something vital was missing. Something beyond the simple absence of light in the night sky. Days turned into weeks. The initial shock settled into a grim reality. Leora continued her duties. She swept the archives. She tended the fading glow herbs. One evening, a sharp pain pierced her chest. It was not a physical hurt. It felt like a piece of ice, or perhaps a burning coal lodged deep within her. She gasped, clutching her tunic. The pain subsided, but something had changed. A new awareness bloomed within her, a faint, almost inaudible sound. It was like the rustling of dry leaves or the distant sigh of the wind. These were the hollow whispers. At first, Leora thought she was ill, or perhaps mad. The whispers were soft. They were insistent. They spoke in a language she did not know, yet she understood their meaning. They spoke of loss. They spoke of fragments. They spoke of a journey. She realized the whispers came from within her, from the place where the pain had been. She touched her chest. She felt a small, hard lump beneath her skin. It pulsed with a faint, cool light, a light only she could see. It was a moon shard, embedded in her heart. The discovery terrified her. How had it come to be there? Why her? She was no hero. She was just Leora, a soft-spoken apprentice. Yet the shard felt like a part of her. The whispers grew clearer. They were not just sounds, they were feelings, images, a deep, resonant call. They urged her to seek, to find the other pieces of Selene. The whispers promised that gathering the shards would heal the moon. It would restore balance. Leora felt a heavy burden settle upon her. The fate of the world, it seemed, rested on her small shoulders. She tried to ignore them. She tried to live as before. But the whispers were relentless. The shard in her heart throbbed. It was a constant reminder. She saw the suffering around her, the failing crops, the unpredictable magic, the despair in people's eyes. The whispers told her she could change this. She had to change this. The fragment within her was not just a stone, it was a key. It was a connection to the broken goddess. Leora knew she could not stay. She had to follow the call. Her quiet life was over. The whispers first led Leora to the jagged pass. It was a dangerous place. Bandits and strange beasts roamed there. The whispers grew stronger as she neared a solitary watchtower. It stood stark against the grey sky. Here, the whispers said, she would find her first companion. His name was Kale. He was a warrior. He was known for his skill with the blade and for his silence. He rarely spoke. His eyes held an old sorrow. He had lost his family in the chaos after the shattering. Now he guarded the pass. He protected travelers from the growing darkness. Leora approached him. She was nervous. Her voice was barely a breath. She told him of the shard in her heart. She told him of the hollow whispers. She spoke of the quest to find the other fragments. Kale listened. His face was unreadable. He did not interrupt. He simply watched her. His gaze was intense. For a long time, he said nothing. The wind howled around the tower. Leora thought he would send her away, or worse. She feared he might think her mad. The whispers were a strange claim, after all. Then Kale spoke. His voice was rough, like stones grinding together. "The moon is broken," he said. "The world is dying." He looked at the desolate landscape. "I have seen enough death." He then looked back at Leora. "If there is a chance to heal this land, I will take it." He did not ask for proof. He did not question her sanity. Perhaps he too felt the wrongness of the world. Perhaps he too searched for a sliver of hope. He agreed to join her. His silence was a comfort. It felt like strength. Kale was a man of few words, but his actions spoke volumes. He was a skilled fighter. He moved with a deadly grace. He knew the wild lands. He knew how to survive. He taught Leora how to be aware, how to listen to the sounds of the forest, how to read the signs in the earth and sky. He was more than a protector. He became her first true ally. The whispers in Leora's heart seemed to hum with approval. The journey had truly begun. One small scribe and a silent warrior against a broken world. The hollow whispers next guided Leora and Kale towards the port city of Viridia. It was a place of bustling trade, or it had been. Now ships rotted in the harbour. Fearful merchants hoarded their goods. The whispers led them to a cluttered shop. It was filled with scrolls, charts, and strange artifacts. This was the home of Naira. She was a cartographer and a scholar of forgotten lore. She had a sharp mind. Her eyes were quick and intelligent. She was known for her vast knowledge of the lands, both known and unknown. Leora explained their quest. Naira listened with keen interest. She asked many questions. Unlike Kale, she wanted details. She wanted to understand the nature of the whispers. She examined the faint glow from Leora's chest with fascination. Naira believed in patterns. She believed in connections. The shattering, she said, was not random. It was an event foretold in obscure prophecies. She had been studying them. She believed the shards held immense power, power that could rebuild or destroy utterly. She agreed to help. The quest was a puzzle she could not resist. Their search for the next companion took them inland. They traveled to the Whispering Woods, a place where the trees were ancient. Their roots ran deep. The whispers led them to a hidden glade. There they found Rin. He lived in harmony with nature. He could speak to plants and animals. He was a healer. His touch could soothe pain. He could mend broken things. Rin felt the sickness of the land acutely. The shattering had wounded the earth itself. He saw the pain in Leora's eyes. He understood her burden. Rin was gentle. His spirit was as deep as the forest. He sensed the life force in Leora's shard. He also sensed its immense sorrow. He agreed to join them without hesitation. He believed the moon was part of the world's spirit. Healing the moon meant healing the land and healing its people. So the team was formed. Leora, the moon scribe with her guiding whispers. Kale, the silent warrior, their protector. Naira, the wise scholar, their navigator. And Rin, the gentle healer, their connection to the living world. Together they faced the unknown. Section 5. The Sky Isles of Ethel. Naira's old maps spoke of floating archipelagos, islands held aloft by ancient magic. The whispers confirmed this. The first major shard lay hidden there in the Sky Isles of Ethel. Reaching them was a challenge. The pathways were unstable. The magic that kept them afloat was failing. They found an old sky sailor. He was hesitant. Few dared to sail the chaotic winds now, but Leora's quiet determination and Naira's promise of rare charts convinced him. Their journey upwards was perilous. Storms of wild magic tossed their airship. The Sky Isles were beautiful and terrifying. Islands of green floated in an endless blue. Waterfalls cascaded into the clouds below, but the beauty was fragile. Some islands crumbled at the edges, others drifted aimlessly. The magic here was raw, unpredictable. Strange creatures, born of magical flux, soared between the isles. The inhabitants, the Ethel folk, were reclusive. They were wary of outsiders. They blamed the lowlanders for the moon's destruction. Their own society was fracturing under the strain of the unstable magic. Their crystal homes flickered with dying light. The whispers led Leora to the largest island, to an ancient crumbling temple. It was dedicated to Selene. The Ethel folk warned them away. They said the temple was haunted, mad spirits guarded it, spirits driven insane by the shattering. The air around the temple was cold. Leora felt a strong pull from her heart shard. The lost piece of the moon was close. Kale kept his hand on his sword. Naira consulted her notes, looking for patterns in the temple's decay. Rin tried to soothe the agitated flora around the temple entrance. Inside, the spirits attacked. They were sorrowful, confused figures of light and shadow. They shrieked with the moon's pain. Leora did not fight. She spoke to them. Her voice, guided by the whispers, was filled with compassion. She spoke of healing. She spoke of restoring Selene. Some spirits faded, others grew calmer. Deep within the temple they found it, a large pulsating moon shard. It radiated a cold, sorrowful light. As Leora reached for it, the temple groaned. The island shuddered. The unstable magic surged. They had the shard, but escape would be difficult. Their escape from Ethel was narrow. The airship barely survived the magical turbulence. With the second shard secured, Leora felt its power join the one in her heart. The whispers grew more complex. They now carried echoes of ancient memories, memories that were not her own. These memories were fragmented, confusing. They showed her glimpses of a time when the moon was whole. They showed her rituals and faces she did not recognize. Naira was fascinated. She believed these memories held clues to the moon's true nature and to the cause of the shattering. The whispers and Naira's research pointed them next to a forgotten place, the sunken city of Eldoria. It was once a great center of learning. Now it lay submerged beneath the silent sea. Only the tallest spires broke the surface. Nera found records of a powerful lunar observatory there. It was said to house another shard. To reach it, they needed a special vessel, one that could withstand the crushing depths. They found an eccentric inventor in a coastal town. He had built such a craft. He was willing to help for a price, a rare star metal Kale had acquired. The journey into the depths was eerie. Strange, bioluminescent creatures swam past their viewport. The ruins of Eldoria were magnificent and melancholic. Grand structures were encrusted with coral. Silent streets were patrolled by ghostly fish. The pressure was immense. The silence was profound. Leora felt the weight of ages. The whispers here were different. They were tinged with regret, with the sorrow of lost knowledge. They led the team through labyrinthine underwater corridors towards the heart of the ancient observatory. This place felt heavy with secrets. They found the shard in the observatory's central chamber. It was guarded, not by spirits this time, but by an ancient, awakened monster. A massive, kraken-like beast. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent intelligence. It had been dormant for centuries. The shattering had stirred it. The fight was desperate. Kale's blade was swift. Naira used her knowledge of the city's layout to create diversions. Rin tried to calm the creature's rage. Leora, holding the Ethel shard, felt a surge of unexpected power. She focused the moon's sorrowful light. It disoriented the beast long enough for them to seize the Eldorian shard and flee. The city seemed to sigh as they left. With 3 shards, Leora's connection to the moon deepened. The whispers became a constant stream of images and emotions. Sometimes they were clear, sometimes they were contradictory. She saw visions of the moon goddess, sometimes benevolent, sometimes wrathful. The memories within the shards were not always comforting. They hinted at a complex, perhaps even flawed divinity. Leora began to question. Was Selene truly the gentle guide of legend, or was there a darker side to her power? Her faith, once simple, began to waver. This journey was changing her. The next shard, the whispers revealed, was not in the physical world. It was hidden in a dream realm, a place accessible only through deep meditation or through potent, dangerous rituals. Naira found an old text. It described a ritual used by ancient mystics. It was risky. One could become lost in the dream realm forever. Their mind could shatter. Rin, with his connection to spiritual energies, offered to guide them. He would act as their anchor, to pull them back if they strayed too far. Kale stood guard over their physical bodies. His vigil was tense. The dream realm was a shifting landscape. It was shaped by thoughts and emotions. It was beautiful one moment, terrifying the next. Here, memories and truths were fluid. Leora saw her own fears manifest. She saw twisted versions of her companions, mad spirits born of collective nightmares, drifted through the surreal scenery. These spirits were more cunning than the ones in Ethel. They preyed on doubt, they whispered lies. They tried to turn the companions against each other. Leora had to focus. She had to trust the core of the whispers, the ones that came from her heart shard. The shard was located in a dream palace. It was made of moonlight and shadows. Its guardian was a manifestation of collective doubt, a shadowy figure that mirrored Leora's own growing uncertainties. It challenged her. It questioned her motives. It questioned the quest itself. Why rebuild a flawed goddess, it hissed. Why not let the world find a new balance? Leora wrestled with these questions. She had no easy answers, but she remembered the suffering in the waking world. She remembered the hope, however small. She pushed through her doubt. She claimed the dream shard. The realm itself seemed to twist in protest as they departed. The dream shard brought new revelations and new anxieties. The memories it contained were disturbing. They showed the moon goddess not as a victim of the shattering, but perhaps in some way as a participant, or even a cause. Leora saw visions of immense power struggles among celestial beings. She saw Selena making desperate choices that had unforeseen consequences. The idea that the moon's divinity was not pure, not entirely benevolent, shook Leora to her core. The whispers now felt less like guidance and more like a burden, a tangled web of half-truths. Her companions noticed her distress. Kale watched her with quiet concern. Naira tried to analyze the new information logically, but even she found it unsettling. Rin felt the turmoil in Leora's spirit. He tried to offer comfort, but the seeds of doubt had taken root. Leora began to question the very purpose of their quest. If Selena was flawed, was restoring her the right path? What if the shattering was necessary, a painful but needed breaking of an old, imperfect order? These thoughts were heresy to a moonscribe, yet she could not ignore them. The whispers still urged her onward. They still spoke of healing and balance, but Leora now heard a new note in them, a note of desperation, perhaps even manipulation. She wondered who or what was truly speaking through the shards. Was it Selene or something else? Something that wore her mask. The line between faith and doubt blurred. The balance between fate and her own freedom felt precarious. Was she a chosen hero or a pawn in a cosmic game she did not understand? The weight of the shards felt heavier each day, not just physically but spiritually. They continued their search. The next shard was said to be in the heart of an active volcano, a place of fire and destruction. It seemed a strange place for a piece of the cool moon. As they journeyed, Leora felt a growing disconnect from the official teachings of the moon scribes. Their simple faith seemed naive now. The truth, she suspected, was far more complex and far more dangerous. The enemy they fought might not be the chaos of a broken world. The true enemy might be hidden behind a veil of divine light, or perhaps within the whispers themselves. The volcano was a hellish landscape. Rivers of lava flowed, the air was thick with ash and sulfur. The whispers were frantic here, almost screaming. They led the team deep into the mountain's fiery heart, to a cavern where the heat was unbearable. There, suspended above a lake of molten rock, was the fifth shard. It pulsed with an angry red light. It was corrupted, tainted by the raw, destructive energy of the volcano, or perhaps by something else, something ancient and malevolent that had been drawn to its power. As Leora reached for the corrupted shard, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was not a spirit, not a monster. It was an Ethel folk, one of the Sky Isle elders, but he was changed. His eyes burned with a cold, intelligent light. He moved with unnatural speed and power. He spoke, his voice echoing with a chorus of other voices. "The child of the false moon," he said, looking at Leora. "You gather the keys to your own destruction." Selene was a jailer, not a savior. Her breaking was a liberation. He revealed he had been subtly guiding them, twisting the whispers. He explained that the gods were not what they seemed. Selene, he claimed, had imprisoned an older, more chaotic power. The shattering was an attempt by this power to break free. The shards were not just pieces of the moon, they were keys to that prison. Restoring Selene would mean resealing this ancient entity, an entity that promised a new world, a world free from the rigid order of the gods. Leora was horrified and confused. The elder attacked. He wielded dark magic, magic that felt like the antithesis of the moon's light. Kale, Nera, and Rin fought to protect Leora. The Elder was powerful. He seemed to draw strength from the corrupted shard. "The truth is a bitter draught, Moon Scribe," he sneered. "Your goddess feared true freedom. She hoarded power." Leora clutched the shard she carried. Their combined light pushed back against the darkness, but the Elder's words echoed in her mind. Memory versus truth, faith versus doubt. Who was the real enemy? The chaotic entity, or the gods who sought to control it? As Kale parried a blow meant for her, Leora looked at the corrupted shard. The whispers were now a cacophony. One voice, Selene's, urged her to purify it. Another, deeper and more seductive, urged her to embrace its raw power. Her choice, she knew, would change everything. The quest was far from over. It had just become infinitely more complex.